This is Peyton Thompson, and we're on Coursen's Corner. Perfect. One take Drake. That's
Boom.
all it takes.
One take Drake. I love it. I had this on Do Not Disturb. And then there's like 5 people that can ring through.
Of course they called. Of course they did. My dog, JB. My man, JB. Love that guy.
He's great. I need to have him on.
Haven't you had him on?
Not yet. Not yet. And then you're with the agency now, right?
Yeah.
How do you like the real estate market?
Right now or just in general?
Yeah. Like, what do people get wrong about real estate?
That it's easy to get into and everybody can do it. You know, your typical person that quits their jobs, like, I'm going to get my real estate license.
Right. Everyone during COVID when it was like, you could.
Yeah. Or even now, right? Like this last year, the economic shift, right? People are like, you know, you always see somebody like, oh, I'm going to get my real estate license. And I'm always, you know, hesitant to, do I give them the real or do I just let them just dive into
isn't that funny? It's like there's like, even in my old job, like celebrity protection, right? It's like people are like, dude, it's so cool. You get to go like all these places. It's like red carpets and runways. And you're like, yeah, dude, that was like 15 seconds of like a 15-week tour. That was hell.
Right.
You're looking at me wearing the same suit that I've been wearing like 5 times a day or 5 times a week that just gets dry cleaned at whatever hotel I'm in.
Right.
It's airport, hotel, premier, hotel, airport, hotel. Like you don't really get to see or experience anything. You're living off the beef jerky that's in your go bag.
Right.
And yeah, that 15-second like photo looked great, but it ain't all it's cracked up to be.
Same in every profession, I'm sure.
Right.
Right. The stuff you post on Instagram looks really good until you get into the nitty gritty of what those days are like.
Exactly.
Balancing your life, schedule, structure, all of those things. Just they only get to see the flash, the glory, right?
Yeah. People see what they want to see.
Right.
And then
once we show them what we want to show them.
100%.
We show them what we want to show them.
That 100%.
Yeah,
like,
we're not showing the dog days. I don't know too many people's Instagram that's just showing a bunch of negativity and all the hard stuff and all the complaining and hair pulling.
I wonder if that would work.
Probably not.
No. People want to see the glitz and glam, but then bitch about it. Right? Oh, you think you're all that? You think you're better than me? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, they go there for the high. They don't go there for the low.
Right.
They're escaping the low.
Well,
at least I do.
That's what we all do.
Right.
It's an escape. It's escapism.
Right.
You know? Or it's like, I mean, even when I was writing the book, that's like the whole, like we don't have royalty in America. So celebrity became our royalty.
That's true.
Right? We could never become kings or queens, but we could become famous. And famous was almost just as good.
Right.
And so, you know, like athletes and media, like they started, you know, pushing that stuff out. Like, oh, if you eat this spinach, you can be like Popeye. Or if you do big league chew, you can be a center fielder for the Mets. Or if you do.
The success is sadly the goal and not the effort.
Right.
We highlight the success, but not the effort.
Yeah.
And that's why people will take the shortcuts to get to the success, because that's where the highlight is.
And then they think that's going to fulfill like whatever void in them or within them. And then it doesn't. And they're like, oh, well, now what? You know?
Back to being a real estate agent. You thought you wanted to get your license until you don't have clients for 6 months, or you realize if you get a $10 million listing, you're going to spend $30,000 plus on marketing it.
Right.
Right. That's all out of pocket.
Yeah.
All those hours and all of the things. Right. So, you know, they see the good stuff, but they wouldn't be too happy if they knew about all the work. Right.
Right. And I guess it's like, you know, it's not like you're selling like candy bars for your fundraiser in high school where you can immediately go to like friends and family.
Right.
Right. Like I could be the best real estate agent in the world, but there's like very few people in my friends or even family extended network that could afford upwards of like $1 million on a house.
Correct. And that's your livelihood.
And
you're hoping that they're in a position to buy, or they're needing to buy in this moment so you can hit your number for the quarter.
So how do you, true or false, people buy people?
Yes. True.
Right?
True. They got to be a believer in your character and in who you are and in your ability to execute what they're asking you to do.
Did you find that was also the same when you were like playing ball? Like a lot of guys can play ball, but not a lot of guys, but you don't always want to play ball with a lot of guys.
That's true. But there's some luck into it too. There's some luck, there's some charisma, there's character in it too. But in that realm, it's the best ability is availability. So you also got to be healthy and be in the right place at the right time in order to get that, right?
Yeah.
So
that was Jay Hill's issue, right?
It's similar.
He just got unlucky at the wrong time.
I mean, that's 99% of everybody's issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the best players never made it to the league or 100%. Play professional sports.
I believe that. I think that's probably the case across the board, right?
Absolutely.
Like some of the best musicians never won a Grammy, probably never knew their name. Some of the best actors never hit stage. Some of the funniest people alive never stepped foot into the comedy room or the comedy store.
There's some luck into it, man. There's some luck into all of it.
Yeah.
You can't be the 1% of the 1% without a little bit of luck or favoritism along the way, right? Like it's got to be right place, right time, right? I mean, there's guys that I played with that couldn't get off third string. They couldn't even get in the rotation in camp to get in a position to make the team. They get cut from 3 teams. They go to another team. There's 2 injuries. Now they're starting. Now they're still playing. Then they get another contract and you're like, dude, how is he still playing 8 years after I got done playing? And like he was sleeping meetings and getting cut. Like he couldn't even make it on the field to remember the playbook.
Yeah. Or like Brady was like, what was it? Like drafted like 199th or something? And then it's like,
well, I blame that on college evaluators. So just, it could be anything, anywhere. Right. I mean,
how big of a factor is that? I didn't even think of like the scouting.
I mean, it's not even the scouting portion is big, but you got to remember a lot of the scouts have never played football. A lot of the front office, a lot of the GMs, a lot of the coaches that are out there today, it's very rare that any of them actually played past high school, especially played past college. So you got a bunch of office heads in there making a lot of decisions, making all the decisions, right? And then you got to think about a guy like, no discredit, but like a guy like Mel Kiper, right? Like a draft analysis guy, right? He could name some sleeper quarterback that nobody's watched all season from whatever college and say like, oh, he's the next guy. Next thing you know, he gets drafted first round and everybody's like, what? And then he's terrible. Or it just doesn't pan out, or he's just a bust.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just all because of some analysis from a guy that, pretty much gets it right most of the time, especially when guys are playing well. It's easy to see guys are playing well. But then he'll also have a no-name sleeper, and those don't always work. Right. And it's like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from? And those are the guys that benefit from some of that right place, right time, some of that luck, just things like that happen. 100%. But that's in every field.
Yeah, it's got to be. But the thing I've always been curious, like college, I guess it's probably a little bit different when you get to the pros. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the whole like being available part, like the not being hurt, like when you're playing college ball, is that equation like going into your mind? Like I have to make this play so I can get it on the highlight reel, but also if I make this play, I got to make sure I don't get hit wrong.
Yeah, but you also have to be available to be in the game.
Oh, right. Yeah. So like
you pull a hammy in practice or something and you can't get in the practice rotation, you're not going to get in the game rotation.
Right.
So like they say, the best ability is availability. Are you actually available for me to call on you when I need you? Write it down. The best ability is availability, man.
Sometimes you just know when what the episode quote is going to be.
There it is.
That's it right there.
Noted.
Thank you for the pull quote.
Yeah, and then noted. Keep the notes alive.
Listen, man, I'm not a smart man, so if it's not written down, it didn't happen.
What are you talking about? You just went through all the courses that you aced in your training and your programming. You are a smart guy. You got a book?
Yeah. Well, listen, there's a big difference between not quitting and getting it done.
Resilience is also one of the things.
Thing. Yeah,
right? That's huge.
Yeah, I was, like you hear The Rock be like, he's like, no, it wasn't The Rock. Who was I talking to? Or heard them talking about.
You were talking to The Rock?
I was not talking to The Rock. I've been in the room with The Rock, but he has no idea.
I was going to say, that's an episode I haven't seen. You're going to have to post that.
Yeah. Then I would feel small,
right?
Standing next to someone for some photos, right? It's like every once in a while I'll get into like an elevator with like a pro athlete and I'm like, oh, now I know how everyone else feels when I get in the elevator.
Yeah. Was there, when you were deployed, was there anybody like that? Or did you come across anything like that where you're like,
yeah, every once in a while you'll see like someone like Jocko, right? Who's just like a big, like looks like that Roman centurion helmet was made specifically
necks
for that.
Wider than his head.
Yeah. Okay. But most guys are probably like 5'10", $160. Yep. So when you like someone like me walking in was always just like,
you're the big guy.
I'm the big guy.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Must be nice.
It doesn't hurt. doesn't
It
suck.
helps.
It doesn't suck.
It helps.
Which is, yeah. But
the eye test is important in life.
Yeah. There was some study that had something to do with like, you'll never be elected president if you're like under 6'2".
That may be true.
Or something. There was like certain stats.
Damn, Biden's 6'2"?
Biden's pretty tall.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. And then they pick like only like certain Secret Service agents to stand behind him. So that makes him look more, not just him, but they've been doing this.
That's how I feel about some of my friends. I don't stand next to them in pictures. He's way too big. Sorry, man.
Or just wear like the platform shoes.
Yeah. Or go stand on a little box over there on the side.
You know what I always was curious about? Like if you do get injured in a game at the pro level, like does the team have their own doctors or like are you okay? And then like does the team cover like those surgeries and like all those x-rays, or does that come out of your pocket?
The team does, and then you also have like insurance, which is from the team, from the union, from the league. So it's all covered regardless of what you end up doing. But if you get hurt during a game, I mean, there's a whole team of athletic trainers, and then there's one or two like official team doctors, right? Just in case things get serious or you got concussion.
Well, like when like Aaron Rodgers like snapped, was it just like his Achilles or something? And then I
couldn't imagine an Achilles snap.
No,
that'd be the worst.
Yeah.
That's
I watched David Beckham run across the field when his snapped, and I was like, that just looked. You know how you just watch a cartoon, like you feel that pain too.
Yeah,
it's like
I can't watch injuries and replay in slow mo. Yeah, it's not for me. I don't have.
But of course, that's what they love on the highlight reels. Let's watch that again. Look at this, Jim. Look at that. It's a compound fracture if I ever saw one.
Man, I don't have the stomach for it.
No.
I don't know if it's just because I've been there before and I understand how detrimental it is to your life or your career, or whatever it is, or if it's just stomaching the breakage or the rupture in the injury, right?
Yeah.
They're both kind of gruesome.
Kinda crazy.
I don't like either.
How many years total did you play?
Let's see. I got out of college in 11, and my last game was the AFC Championship, January of 2018. So let's call it 7. And then I spent my first year and a half on practice squads. So let's call it 5 to 6.
Okay.
That's 5 to 6
what's
years.
What's the average career?
2.
Right. So that's the whole like NFL stands for not for long.
Not for long, buddy. Not for long. I mean, most of the guys I got, except for the first and second round picks, most of the guys I got drafted below the second round in my class or any of the classes that came after me while I was still playing, they were done before I got done playing.
Wow.
So like I remember my rookie year, there was a couple of DBs I got drafted in like the 4th, 5th, 6th round. They were done playing before I was done playing. They only lasted 2 years, maybe went to another team, didn't make it. They're out before your 3rd year. And then you're not. So here's a kicker for you. And somebody else correct me if I'm wrong, but
they will.
Baseball and basketball, if you play one play, like if you're active and you play one play, you get health insurance for life.
Wow.
In football, in the NFL, you have to play 4 credited seasons to carry any insurance after you're done playing. An accredited season is 4 games of like actually being active and playing.
Okay.
Right.
So is that does one play count or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
as long as you play one play of at least one game.
That's a credited game, but you have to get 4 in a season.
Right. And then times that by 4.
Yeah. To get a season. And then you need 4 of those seasons. So there's some guys that'll play 3 years and they'll get cut. Or they just won't get 4 games on the 4th season and they don't get any insurance. But here's the second kicker. That insurance only lasts for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Right. So with the most injuries and the most liability, 100% injury rate, right? Even if you play 4 years, which is past the standard,
100%.
Past the average, it's double the average, then you only get insurance for 5 years. And then the next benchmark is 10 years. And I don't know what that is specifically because I didn't get to 10 years, so I'm not going to speak on it.
How many guys are playing 10 years? That's got to be such a low percentage.
Not very many.
Was that 5%?
Maybe 5% of the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah,
probably.
What is that? 0.00001?
Something like it.
Yeah,
something like it.
I was not a math major.
I was not either.
But knowing that it's not going to be a 20, 25 year career, no. At what point are you thinking about like what's next
before you get to it?
Really?
I mean, there's a mental part of it where you you go into it and you don't have a backup plan. You don't have a plan B, or else you won't be as focused on plan A.
Right.
But there's always a, hey, this could end tomorrow, so I need to at least be prepared. Even if I don't have a full plan and I'm not putting time and effort into the plan, it always needs to be on the back of your mind, because you always have to be mentally prepared for it.
Right.
So that was my thing, is like every year, it didn't matter how well I was doing, whether I was a captain, whether we played in a NFC or AFC championship game, whether I was starting, it didn't matter how well I was doing. I just assumed I was getting cut the next year. You know, wasn't trying to be negative, right? Like I definitely went into the offseason and was planning, hey, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm for sure making this team. Nobody's going to tell me anything different, right? But my mental was prepared for, you know, as much as it could. Like, hey, if things go south, I'm not even going to be sour about it. Like there's things we got to do, and there's time we can't waste.
There's a quote that I saw recently that said something along the lines of like, I'm gonna put my future in the hands of God, but I'm gonna work like it's up to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's about right.
Right.
That's about right.
It's almost like an expect the worst, but like,
yeah. And I mean, there's a fine line there too, right? Like you don't want to put yourself in a negative mindset or
no, but there's like a fine line between,
very fine line,
you know, between I'm the greatest and I'm trying to be great, right? Like you get someone like at the Michael Jordan level, there's probably a little bit of narcissism in there.
There has to be.
But it's like, but if you're successful, it's not. It's only if you don't quite reach that pinnacle.
Right. And then it's not.
I did some work a couple years back with the NBA, their freshman class. They would like bring the whole freshman class in for like almost like a week long orientation into the league and rookie week. Exactly. And, you know, there'd be some guys there talking about financial literacy. There'd be some guys there talking about,
I'm glad that exists.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was kind of there to kind of help them to understand, to help them navigate some of the, you know, quote, safety traps that you experience going from like a private person to a public figure. There's just certain things you got to watch out for, certain things you're going to look out for. Does the NFL have something similar? And is that league wide or is that like team specific?
They have some stuff that's league wide and union wide, as far as like a rookie orientation and your first couple weeks of camp, kind of having to get into financial literacy and X, Y, and Z. I would say from the safety perspective, it's more like, hey, if you're going through things and you need some help mentally, here's some people you can reach out to. Your insurance covers it. Or hey,
that's nice.
If you're out in the town, right, here's credit for you know, like limo services or car services, so you're not driving. Avoid the DUI because here's the repercussions of a DUI if you get one and now you're a public figure.
Right.
They have things like that, but they're all very elementary, which is, you know, to most people that's probably beneficial, but I mean, I saw it as things that they weren't a waste of time, but they were things that were just like, you know, this is very ABC 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Where's the meat in this? Right. Like where are we actually growing in this conversation? Or are you guys just giving us like the templated stuff so you can say you can cover your ass on it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just like a check the block. Yeah. Hey, we warned them.
The union said we got to make sure we educate you guys on this. So here's your 1 hour of.
Is that something that, so when things do come up, is that something you would go to? Because like each team also has their own like security guy. Yeah. Right. Like I know a couple. But are they cleanup? Are they janitors or are they on the prevention side?
They try to be on the prevention side. Once you get to the cleanup side, you're kind of screwed.
You're kind of screwed.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed already. There's not much they can do. That's between your agent and the team.
And your lawyer. And
depending on how much, what your position is in the building will kind of determine what that outlook looks like, right? But they're more preventative. And hey, if you need something, we're here. Or, you know, they do offer services like, hey, if you go out of town, if you go to another country, tap in with us and we'll make sure you have the resources you need so you're not out there stranded, you and your wife. In another country,
yeah.
But like,
yeah, something breaks bad. And
it's almost one of those things between the union and the league where like they tell you about some stuff, but you have to go ask in order to get a lot of the services that, you know, are available to you. You do have to go search or have to be in a position to where you're in a need. And then you also have to feel comfortable enough to ask. in order to get those things. They're not all, it's not like it's rolled out to you in a big player handbook that's just like, hey, here you go.
Yeah. That's when you were coming in with social media, a big variable at that point.
I remember, man, this makes me so. I remember.
Well, I had a MySpace.
Right.
My teammates were my top 8.
Right. I had the music that played when you came to my page and all the things. I remember when I was training.
You have old Jay-Z Drug Dealer's Paradise playing?
I think I had some 50 Cent on there.
Or the other.
I believe when I was training, I had a buddy. I think I actually remember this specifically. I had a buddy that was like, you got to get this new thing, Instagram. So I'd assume that was like 2011.
It was, because we were filming Zero Dark 30. I was in like Jordan, and one of the producers was like, oh no, it's like, and he had this like, he would like take a picture, and then he had this like, he would shake it, and it would like, there would like different filters that would come across it. Like one would look like it was like from, it would be like a Polaroid. One would make it look like it was like, from like an old VHS tape.
We got to bring up what the first filters were.
Oh my gosh, they were horrible.
The first 5 filters.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Black and white was definitely one. Black and white. Then there was like, like some Kodak version. There was like a vintage. It was like, and then there was like something like fray the edges. So it was like, it's kind of like a postcard, but it's completely changed now.
Completely changed. Right. It's more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We just dated ourselves for sure. 12 years ago.
Oh, I freely admit that I'm old as AF. So
my gray hairs are coming in thick. I got a kid now.
I had someone DM me today, a guy who I've worked with for a long time, slides into my DMs on TikTok. He's like, hey brother, looks like you're doing good. I got a question for you. Is your hair real? Because my hair's like falling out like crazy now, and I'm considering hair plugs, and I don't know what to do.
Did you give him the secrets to the trade, or
I was like, dude, thankfully, like my mom's dad had a full head of hair until the day he died. So this is all me. Like I'm thinning out like in the back a little bit, but can't grow a beard for shit.
It's all right. You just the secret to success was the liquid death.
The liquid death.
That's all it was, man.
Thank you, Liquid Death.
Full head of hair
for sponsoring the not the podcast, but the studio where this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel like I do feel like I want to interview you. I feel like I just want to.
Well, when you start your podcast, you can right.
There we go.
Tatted and Spatted.
First guest, dude. I can't get rid of that name.
It's a great name. Why would you get rid of it?
I see. Because in the professional world or in real estate, people are like, "What is that? What is that? I don't understand. Why do you have that? Why is it not your name like everybody else?"
Right.
The answer is because people will respond like that and they remember it. And it's just like, I can't delete it now.
It's like having a really good phone number.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you guys think about it, man. People, I'll be out at a UT baseball game. No idea who somebody is. Tatted and Spatted. And I'll be like, gotta keep it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that did me any favors or got me any business.
Did
but
you come up with
that?
Was that like a nickname?
No. So back when I was at San Jose State, here we go. We're dating it again. So like maybe my first or second year at San Jose State, the media team was working with the athletes. And I remember it was the soccer teams and the football teams. We shared study hall together. And they came in and they had like a social media kind of like, hey, here's, MySpace and Instagram. And I think it was MySpace at the time, right? Because this has got to be like 2010. And they were like, yeah, we're creating names or whatever. And they had a couple names on there for me to pick. And that was the one I picked. And that's...
Do you remember what the other ones were?
No, I don't. Something Spartan was our mascot. Something, I don't know. I stuck with that one. And
how many tattoos do you have?
I got 2 full sleeves.
Yeah.
Shoulders, back.
What was your first one?
On my shoulder, I got like our family number is 5 and I got one love into it. 18 years old, what's the most relevant? Family. And then, it's football culture. We got a whole locker room full of tattoos. Guys have been getting tattooed since they were like 15. You don't know how they got away with this stuff, right?
Which sport do you think was most accepting of tattoos first? Was it basketball?
Probably basketball.
Right, because I remember like Iverson, because I'm from Philly. So when Iverson came in and he was all
a Philly guy.
Oh yeah,
here we go. East Coast love. Here we go.
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
Sacramento, California.
Okay.
Yeah,
West Coast.
The other coast.
The other coast.
Yeah, the other coast. The one I wish I was on right now. Sure, that weather's not as fluctuating.
I'm surprised you went 50, not Biggie. Or no, Biggie was. You would have gone Tupac.
I would have gone Tupac.
Right. Shout out to Tupac. Or
Nah,
was it Death Row? Right?
Yeah,
Death Row back
just
in the day.
in the club was hot. That thing's still hot. Still hot.
Yeah,
it's just another banger.
Yeah, every birthday party for like 15 years. That was like the theme song.
You play it right now. You can throw it on the playlist.
I can't dance, but I can bob.
Yeah. We can definitely get a good workout to it.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It was funny. I was just recently asking, we were having a dad's conversation, and I always ask dads like, hey, you got any notes for me or whatever? And talking to another realtor, one of Justin's friends, Tim, he was talking about, raising his son Luke and T-ball and stuff like that. And Fern was standing right there, Fern. Yeah. So we're talking to Fern. I'm like, hey man, what was your first experience teaching your son to play sports? And he was like, oh yeah, we're in Philly and I was basketball. And I was like, is it like the picturesque, like, basketball court with the chain link wall in front of it? And I'm just watching Fern in his Phillies hat that he always has on, playing basketball with his son, like a real Fresh Prince moment. Oh, yeah. And he was like,
real West Philly.
It was exactly like that.
Like, exactly like that.
That's 100%. Awesome. Come to life.
And then you go to South Philly and it's just a bunch of Italians in like gold chains.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Something new I learned.
Yep. Yeah. Philly's great, man. I love Philly.
How often do you go back?
Not very often. Like all my family kind of like moved out. Most of my family is like more towards like Maryland, DC area, and then
DMV.
The DMV.
Yeah, when I was with the Skins, I spent a year and a half in like Virginia, DC.
Worst stadium in the league.
It's close. It's close.
It's so bad.
Ah, man, the Skins, man. They just had like, I think they're building a new stadium now, but they just had like
they need it.
Yeah, they just have a weird aura around their organization. Like even their practice facility is just like a little gloomy.
Not great.
Yeah, it just doesn't have great. Like, it doesn't feel like the Packers facility when you walk in there or anything like that, right? No. Like it's just not.
What was your favorite stadium to play in?
To play in?
Yeah.
I actually really like the environment in Pittsburgh.
Three River.
Pittsburgh is, that's a cool environment.
That's a great I love when you're coming into Pittsburgh, when you like kind of go through the tunnel and then like it opens up to the city. So it's like a reveal.
Here's what I remember from like the memory standpoint, the visual, right? Like you come through that tunnel and you're driving through the downtown area.
It's Heinz Stadium.
It is Heinz Stadium.
Heinz Stadium.
And it's like, I feel like it's kind of on an island, and the baseball stadium's over here. And there's some topography, but it's like a hill set around the little downtown area, and you can see both. But it felt like a college environment. It felt like we pulled in to University of Alabama. Like everything was shut down. Everything's colored. They had the yellow, the terrible towels. Everything's shut down. Even the McDonald's parking lots are full of people just tailgating and towels and jerseys everywhere. And the whole downtown area is just packed full. And then you go in for pregame and it's damn near full. They're in there. They're rocking 2 hours before the game.
Yeah.
We played a couple games there. I really liked it. I mean, most people will probably say Kansas City and Seattle just because of the volume and how loud it gets in there, and their fan base is pretty cool, and how Seattle's got like the curvature of the stadium. It kind of traps some of the sound in there. But
that's the 12th man one, right?
Yeah. But Pittsburgh is like, man, it's just a vibe in there. It's just, you can feel the history in it.
I always liked it because Philly had that for a while when I was a kid. Like you would come over like the Walt Whitman Bridge and like old Veteran Stadium, and then the Spectrum was there, and then there was another like training facility right there. What was that called? Can't remember. But then you had Penn and Drexel and Villanova that were all like right in there. So it was like
they're all close, huh?
Super close.
I've never been there.
Super close.
Philly's
a great
sport. Never been to Philly.
Great sports, great food.
I think Philly and Oakland are the 2 stadiums I never played in.
Oh, Oakland's a pretty bad stadium.
I know, but I grew up in Northern California. I've always been a Raider fan, through my dad's side of the family. And like there was something about me that did want to play on the extremely shitty baseball field. It's like half dirt, half at the old Coliseum.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was like, they used to say like the best home court advantage in sports was Veterans Stadium because it was
terrible.
Like,
nobody wanted to play.
You would like snap your ankle walking down the locker room.
Red dirt,
So funny.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
So how did the transition from football to real estate come into play?
I mean, I don't want to say I was expecting.
Did you know that real estate was the way you were going to go?
Yeah. I knew it was where I wanted.
Did you know was that going to be like more like the investing side or the sales side?
It was more going to be on the investing side, the development side. I mean, I remember even being at that phase of my life. It's just like kind of like the new new framing, new lumber smell of a new house, right? And kind of just being able to create spaces for people to call a home. My overall goal was, and I knew this, man, I was never the biggest, the strongest, or the fastest. And yeah, it takes, like we said, the 1% of the 1% of the 1% to be the guy that plays 10 years. So I never expected to play that, right?
Did you, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but just for transition purposes, was the end of your career like your choice? Was it chose for you?
It was chose for me, but I mean, it was probably also my choice. I mean, you start turning on the tape and you're not moving how you usually move, or, you know, and to backtrack a little bit, I mean, being an undrafted guy, I'll give you a little cliff note here.
Please.
So based on the order in which you come into the league, you can receive player performance. It's essentially like a bonus on top of your contract.
Okay.
Right. So if you're a first round pick, you probably make, and I don't know the number exactly, but let's say you make $100 a play, right? In addition to your contract.
Oh, okay. So is, are these incentives?
No, it's literally just a bonus.
Oh, okay.
Literally
like
just
a performance bonus.
100%.
Got it.
And if you're undrafted, I think mine was at like $550 a play.
Okay.
Right. $550 a play. So in my mind, I never miss a play. Because if I get cut tomorrow, I want to be like, hey, that last game I played, I made a couple $1,000 extra. Right. I played 10 extra snaps. I made some good money.
Is a play a completion?
What do you mean?
Like if the ball's thrown to you and you don't complete.
Whistle or ball snap, whistle blows. Play.
Got it. Oh, okay.
Right. So
so you don't have to be part of the play, just on the field when that play was called.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And you can receive a bonus. So I never miss, being a bubble guy, right? Like I played on every special teams. Whenever they needed me on defense, I'd pop in on defense, and especially like in practice. If I was starting, I'd be in there. If I was on the twos, if somebody from the ones was down, I'm running with the ones, the twos, also running with the threes. If I'm not on the threes on defense, I'm rotating in over on offense, right? So I'm playing the whole practice. Right. So get back to your question, just a lot of wear and tear, right? Especially when early in my career, when I'm just trying to make the team and stay on rosters. So I would say like probably for repetition, miles ran and just reps in total, right? I would say the volume I was taking on was extremely high compared to most people who are just starting and playing one way, especially if you're playing special teams and stuff.
Yeah.
So I knew my last 2 years, I'm like, I was telling my parents like, oh, I could definitely play another 4, but realistically, they're probably only going to give me another 1 or 2 because I'm starting to see it, right? Like you start running full speed and you go to break and like that knee doesn't bounce like it used to, or it doesn't help you explode in the other direction. You're like, okay. And it's not even that people are moving faster than you. It's just that you're realizing like, I'm not reacting and my body's not doing the things I want it to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew to expect it, but based on the success I was experiencing, and our team was successful. I mean, we're playing the Patriots in the AFC Championship, right? I expected to get another year or 2 for sure, just another contract on my way out. And when I didn't get it, I wasn't too surprised. I understand the business. I've, gratefully grabbed, 5 credited seasons at least. I'm vested. I've made it past most people. There was only one other guy, Aaron Colvin, who was I think he was like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. He was the only guy that was in my room for the 4 or 5 years in Jacksonville that I was in there. We were the only 2 that remained the same through that entire timeline.
Right.
So like, I know the nature of the business. There's guys that got drafted much higher than me that got shipped out of here a long time ago. So when that time came, I understood like, okay, listen, I'll try out for other teams and I'll go to workouts, and I'm definitely going to try to give this another year or 2. But like when I get done with those workouts, I was dying. Like I get, I'd save face or whatever, but I get on the plane and like knees swollen and all of the things, right? So I understood what was coming. And so once that time came, I was mentally prepared to like jump into what I thought I had wanted to do, when that transition was going to come. And then, the investing and developing stuff, that was the first stuff I trekked into when I got into Austin.
Right.
And then as I was working with a developer out here, they didn't really have anybody on their sales, or they were willing to allow me to do the sales portion of it. So they were like, hey, along with investing in these things, you can sell them. Right now you can collect the commission on it too. And a part of
kind of double dip.
A part of being a developer and controlling some of these projects is you got to learn how to get paid 2, 3, 4 times within one transaction and collect some tax benefits, right? If you're controlling the model, how many times can you build in fees and things for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I also got my
You're almost like vertically integrating yourself into the entire like life cycle of the project.
Absolutely. For the next 2 years, I can get paid and I can sell it on the end. And yes, that may be reducing some of the profit by taking some of the commission, but I can build that part into it and balance it out.
Especially when you're multiplying that across, multiple project life cycles.
So to that note, I got my license as advised. And then it's just, just being in the mix and running my development company and building out our portfolio. It benefits me a lot to have my real estate license because I'm doing deals and I'm staying in the market with other people, helping them buy things or acquire things. And then there's something down the street. I just helped them buy this $5 million house, but there's this duplex 2 streets over that I can get, $500,000 off. And if I can, I have the development team to renovate it so I can get this thing to cash flow and turn it over.
Oh, interesting.
So it's been very hard for me to like drop the sales part, even though the portfolio is growing and my partners and I keep taking on more stuff. It's hard for me to drop the sales portion because that's just another revenue stream of continued income that just happens to work for me and kind of happens hand in hand with building out the portfolio.
Where did that business acumen come from? Were you a business major? Was that something you?
No, I wasn't a business major.
Is your family in business?
I had a couple friends whose parents were in real estate. I went to a very good high school where a lot of people's parents were business owners and things like that. Nobody like took me under their wing and taught me any of that business acumen, right? But just carrying myself and how to operate translated. And then also while I was in football, I made it a point every off season or even during season to like go surround myself with people so I can at least see how they're operating in their space. That way, when it's my time, I can do what I need to do. And then when I started working with the developers out here in Austin, they started giving me more opportunity. I was seeing how they were vertically integrating themselves, how they were conducting themselves, how they were setting up their schedules, how they were facilitating their business and growing their business. And I just kind of there's a meaning in everything, right?
Yeah.
There's almost a meaning in everything.
This didn't used to exist, but more and more now there are more veteran organizations that are kind of like helping service members who are transitioning from military life to civilian life, and here's where your skills are applicable in civilian society, and that exists for guys who serve like 4 years, 10 years, 15 years,
so they'll
5 years.
They'll like individually take your skills and tell you how they apply to
they'll help you like here's how being a door kicker can translate into office development leadership.
How does that translate?
Honestly,
kicking doors.
Well, it's not, but for every door you kick, for every 10% of actual, what would I call like actions on the objective, it's 90% planning.
Planning and leadership.
Planning, leadership, understanding task condition standards, roles, responsibilities, dates, drivers, deliverables, things that you wouldn't think of in that kind of like
they only see you kicking the door down.
Right. But when you can say, oh no, like I planned that entire operation. I made sure that my team I was also responsible for the health, welfare, and tactical deployment of it. I was also responsible for, like you said, making sure that my guys were healthy and strong enough and well trained enough to execute that mission, that everyone understood the commander's intent and blah 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 blah. But is there like a similar structure for guys like coming out of the league, or are you just kind of
there's no structure, there's no programs? Now there's starting to be programs where they're teaching financial literacy and real estate literacy and kind of teaching people about business and things like that. But the tough part is, and I'm gonna get kicked for this, man, but the mental growth within a football organization is very low.
Yeah,
it's very low.
And is that because it's like this is the way we've always done this? This is the way
this is the way. Now, obviously, we're coming up on newer times where guys, especially guys who are more comfortable in their contracts, they're not spending as much time of the off-season training. They're going out and finding other business ventures and partnerships. Now that there's NILs and there's younger kids taking advantage of this stuff. Now there's guys who are professionals that are also taking advantage of this stuff. But there's essentially no programs that provide structure or lead the way in that sense, right? So a lot of it is figuring it out on your own, especially if you're, going back to being in a bubble. Like you're in the stadium. A lot of the stadiums they're practice facilities that are indoors with no windows.
Right.
The weight room may have windows, or you're under the stadium. right? Locker rooms under the stadium, all the things. There's no light in there, right? And then you're working out, you're on the field, which is your time outside, and then you're in the locker room in meetings in which you're talking all football. And especially in between those meetings, when you're in the stadium, you're using the restroom, getting rehab, or you're scrolling on your phone, and you're only seeing what's on Instagram.
Right.
So the growth and the mentality of the mental of those guys is literally what's on their phone or what they're scrolling through for that quick dose in between meetings,
right,
or what they go home and do, right?
Yeah.
And then when you go home, you're talking about football. So we're not, especially in my experience, there's not guys talking about business. There's not guys talking about what they're going to do after ball. There's not guys talking about how I'm going to structure my life or my daily life when I don't have it anymore. Right. There's none of that stuff going on. So once you get done playing, you're either like very assertive or you get lost. And there's like I said, there's programs out now that like guys can jump into, and the NFLPA has like some transitional programs. I went to the business program at Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan, and they'll pay for that stuff, and you can go to that stuff, and it's a week long, but it is very ABC 1, 2, 3. Right.
So like, by the numbers.
Yeah. You're not really getting real meaty information until day 3 of the 5-day course. And then even then it's more helping you figure out what you do or don't want to do versus actually teaching you things that are applicable to being an adult out here on your own, like structuring your own life and handling your own finances. And what's it going to be like when everybody's not on your jock all day long and you don't have all these resources to your expense, right? Or at the hands of being able to actually apply those to life, right? So those things you see a lot of people just drown because they don't have that structure anymore, and then they don't know where to go get it. And then those programs only offer so much. They're only going to tell you so much.
Right. Yeah. No, I can see that. Now, for someone like, me, like I do the military, I do the government thing, and I kind of, have my own consulting firm and I write the book. But when I wanted to start doing like more media centric things, I had guys like Jocko or Tim Kennedy or Goggins that I could kind of like look to is like, okay, like what did they do? How did they navigate this? What are their, who are the guys that like you guys look to in terms of?
That's tough though, because you only see what they want you to see.
Right.
Back to our point, right? Like you're not seeing how they set that all up, how they hired people, how they're bringing in, trained media people who are helping schedule things out or create content for you, right? They're only seeing what's on Instagram.
Right.
Mostly. Right. Not a lot of us are going through and reading, a book a day, making sure that we grab all the information. And that's just not quick information. That's just at your disposal. Right. To answer your question, there is nobody that's set. Right. It's whoever you follow on Instagram. But again, you're only seeing what they want you to see. They're not actually. It's rare that they're probably picking up the phone and getting the how-to.
And that's a big thing that like, I don't know if you follow like Alex Hormozy, but he always talks about, he's like, stop talking about what you do once you're at the top. Like, once you become a billionaire, you can spend the first 3 hours of your day doing a cold plunge and a gratitude journal and an IR sauna and a workout and getting your sunlight in and drinking your 40 glasses of water. But
speaking facts.
But, for the first 20 years, I did all the shit that I didn't want to do.
100%.
You know what I mean? 100%. To get to the point where I can do what I love to do.
And then also, there's the guys that, are well off and they got a lot of money and contracts and they're able to get into the type of partnerships where they're getting that, or they can spend the first 4 hours of their day doing recovery and going to the gym and reading a couple pages in their book, and they're not really have to hit the ground running. And that's what guys see and that's what they're following. But there's also a sense of instant gratification there.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, it's delayed now.
Oh, yeah.
You're not getting any more checks now. You can't just go make a play on Wednesday, be a starter on Sunday, and then you get what you need.
Rashawn on a couple episodes ago, and she was saying like delayed gratification is like if you can't have that kind of discipline where you can delay that kind of gratification, you will not be successful.
Think about it in sports. Like you spent all of your elementary, junior high, and high school years just playing and getting better at a craft just to get better at it with no real like goal, or not a real goal, but no outcome that comes
guaranteed
quickly or guaranteed, right? You're just doing it to do it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Once you get it and now you're getting checks and you're getting paid weekly and you're getting these big checks or you're experiencing this success, to go back to, hey, I'm not getting anything. I need to plan to not get anything. And then I also need to not be an ass about not getting anything. I need to just be cool with just working for 10 years and working my way up. They don't want to do that.
No,
nobody wants to do that.
No, yeah. Everyone, yeah. What most people don't understand is like everyone who you think was an overnight success took 20 years.
100%, man. 100%. And they just don't get it.
Yeah. People are like, oh, Chris Williamson's got like an amazing podcast. What a meteoric ride to fame. He's done 700 episodes. Mm-hmm. He's been doing like 3 to 5 episodes a week for the last 5 to 6 years. You know what I mean? Like, you know what kind of commitment that takes?
And do you know how much time you have to have, money and resources to have to spend that time doing that? I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I had Matt Choi on earlier this week, and he was saying one of the big things that like people really get wrong when they're is that they don't want like their first product to suck.
Right.
They want everything to be perfect. It's like, no, you want it to suck when only like 5 people are going to watch your video, because that's when you can. You're like, you don't want it to want it to be when 500,000 people are watching.
But why are you so scared to fail?
Right. Well, that's just it, man. Like, we only want to show the good stuff, right? No one wants to show the dirt under our nails and I mean, I could show you a highlight reel hours long of me just flubbing my way through putting together a coherent sentence until I got, enough verbal IQ, my verbal IQ high enough that I could have a conversation without a lot of, you know what I mean? Like, really, see what I say? Blah, blah, blah. I messed that up.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, but that's the gratitude I have. I've given up a touchdown in front of millions.
Right.
I've already lost sleep over that.
Right. And and
there's nothing I can do now, or there's no reason I can fail now that would make me feel that sick to my stomach or lose that much sleep.
And sometimes the best lessons come from the experiences that suck the most.
100%. It's got to suck. You have to enjoy the suck. You have to.
You do.
You got to enjoy the stuff that sucks.
Yeah.
You have to. You got to understand that's a part of your process. Mm-hmm. It's a part of me getting there. I messed that up, but I hope the people around me know that I only messed one thing. I'm only going to mess that specific thing up one time.
100%.
Right? There's definitely growth there, right? There's some character that's built into that. And if you know me or you know us, you know, hey, I did screw that up.
Yeah.
But that screw up is that doesn't define my character. It doesn't define my Instagram profile, right?
Right.
To Matt's point.
Right.
100%. Man, they just don't get it.
And I also don't know anyone who's achieved like a level of success that I would aspire to that is not comfortable being uncomfortable.
I mean, you wouldn't admire those people.
Right. Because you're not going to, like, everyone knows like IQ and EQ, but like there's AQ, there's an adversity quotient. And if you are not willing to embrace the suck and get more comfortable in the suck, then that success starts with SUC.
I think a lot of success starts with, though, like finding out what you don't want to do.
Yeah. A lot of people think passion is something that like
I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. Why don't you figure out what you don't want to do in your life?
Figure out what you don't want to do. But like passion, I'll use I statements. Like, my passion didn't come right away. My passion came from doing something and then realizing that I just really love doing that thing.
Right.
And then I became passionate about it. So, well, how I can get better at this? Right. Oh, what do I do? How do I do that? What does it work? What does it look like?
Mm-hmm. And then understanding what it took to get there.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of that is also, I mean, that's built-in structure, though. You figured out how to structure your day, right? With some suck in there, with some adversity in there, to like still find a way to like, okay, I had a successful day today. Today I got a little.
How do you structure your day?
How do I structure mine? Yeah. Now that I have a child, it's a little bit different. Yeah.
But how old's the little one?
She just turned 2.
Yeah, that's a fun age.
Yeah. She just learned no, so that's fun. That's
wait till they learn why.
That's I've heard. When does that kick in? How long do I?
I don't know. I don't have kids.
Man, I
have a niece and nephew, and I remember my sister being like,
to comment in and tell us the notes so I can understand when to prepare for that. But I'm sure it's coming real quick.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be coming quick. But I structure my day. She gets up at like 7:30. So I try to get up in the morning and knock a couple hours of just like actual to-dos out, those things that you lose sleep over. Running a couple businesses, I naturally have things that are on my mind when I go to sleep and when I wake up. And so those things I try to get up, grab a cup of coffee, some water, and knock out whatever nutritional things I need to knock out, whether that's like, hey, getting some extra protein and some water in, because I can't be the guy that doesn't eat till 11 or 12, right? So let me knock those things out. Let me get a couple hours worth of work in, and let me plan and structure for whatever meetings I have with my team, VAs or whatever it is at 8:30. She usually gets up around like 7:30, 8:30, and I try to be around the house between 7:30 and 9. not working so I can kind of get ready and hang out with her and do the things. Mom takes her to school between 8:30 and 9, and then the rest of the day I hit the ground running. Some of those days I'll squeeze that workout in at that time when she goes to school, but typically when she goes to school and I sent all those emails out and done all of those things and got my team rolling, by 10 o'clock, it's time to roll.
Yeah.
So probably from 10 to 4, I'm doing a lot of to-dos. The structure part in real estate is hard because clients will call and they'll say, hey, I want to see this house.
It's not always your schedule.
Hey, come check this out. So that's what makes my schedule waver a little bit. And on those days, that's when I got to get the gym in after she goes to sleep. That's just the reality of it. And back to your point, people are saying, hey, I get up and I cold plunge and I lift and I do this early in the morning. Like, that's a privilege that you have to earn. I'm not in a point in life where I can spend 7 days a week just from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. doing what I want to do. It's not about doing what I want to do. I got to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
And the reason I knock that workout in the morning before she gets up most of the time is just strictly because I need to make sure I knock those priorities out so that I'm not playing catch up for the rest of the day. I've got to like properly get the day rolling, make sure everybody's good to go, and then I get going. But I wish I could answer you and tell you that my structure is the same every day. But just with kids and then being in real estate in general, especially the brokerage side, it's just not up to
Well, I think it's kind of like an operations plan, right? It's like that operations plan can be great, but it's not going to survive the first contact with the enemy. As soon as that first bullet's fired, that plan's going to shit. So it's just like, okay, what does winning look like? Take out this guy, get this hill, get this whatever. Boom. Okay, as long as that's accomplished, we're going to win.
That is true. Yeah. What does winning look like? What does a successful day look like?
Right.
What does a successful day look like to you?
I start every day with I get up, take care of myself, take the dog out, come back, and then while he's eating, I do a daily journal, and it's basically just a one sheet, and it's date and time, where I am, because I used to travel like crazy, so I always wanted to like have some kind of record of where I was on a particular day.
Stabilize yourself. Get rooted.
Yeah, and then it's usually just about like whatever's on my mind, kind of like a free like stream of consciousness exercise for about like 3/4 of that page, and then at the bottom it's like, what does winning look like? What is the one thing I have to accomplish that day to win the day? What is something I'm grateful for? What is something I'm working on? That can be like personal or business or what have you. And then that's about it. That's enough so it's what does winning look like? Something I'm working on, something I'm grateful for, and then that's usually at the end of the page, and then I sign it off and I'm good to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, because the way my schedule works through the day, I found Sundays to be like really productive. A couple hours on Sundays to do that.
On Sunday.
To do that. Hey, what are my week goals? What do I want to accomplish the first day of the week? What do I want to accomplish by the end of the week? Because that Monday is super important. And then by the time you get to Friday, you don't want to be playing catch up or, hey, I forgot to do this. Yeah. So that's when it's like, okay, here's what are the main objectives of the week? Because that's what really matters. Or else it trickles into the weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now you're playing catch up.
I have a no work on Saturday rule, but Sunday I pretty much map out my whole week. And then the other thing I do to kind of structure my day is a 3-2-1-1-1. So there's something that's going to require 3 hours of work right away, something that's going to get 2 hours of work, and then 3 1-hour blocks. So like today, a 3-hour block is going to be recording content, right? So that's going to get 3 hours. Then I'm going to have to like read some depositions and write some reports. So that's going to get 2 hours. And then there's going to be like, okay, I know that this client's going to need an hour of my time. It's probably going to be like 20 minutes. I'm going to have to review the case file for 10 minutes, talk to them for 30 minutes. Then I have to do like 20 minutes of notes after that call. I'm going to have to do that 2 or 3 times, and then I knock that out. And then that's typically how my day gets structured.
See, that's why you got no gray hair. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, not yet. Not yet. It's, thank God.
But it's incredible. It's incredible as just an adult running businesses, how fast 4:30 comes around. It goes from like 10 a.m. to 4:30 very fast. Very fast.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that mapped out or laid out, you're going to be a mess.
Well, not just that, man, but like if it's not in my calendar, it's not real.
It's not real. Doesn't exist.
Because like if I see that I have like a 2-hour, I'm like, oh, I'll reorganize my utensil drawer. And then next thing I know, I'm like, how come this isn't done? I'm like, God damn it.
What services do you pay for in your daily life to make your life easier?
Lauren.
Yeah. Lauren, an assistant.
Yeah. Lauren is smart. I was so resistant to bringing someone on because of, well, they can't do it as well as me and blah, 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 blah. Dude, I brought her on and it's like,
she's better than me.
Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, my name's on the marquee, but I work for her. Let's be very clear.
Absolutely.
Like she handles everything.
Right.
Like my calendar, my invoicing, letters of engagement, making sure like the dates, drivers, and deliverables are met, making sure like I'm on task. Oh yeah, she's worth her weight in
What
gold.
about cooking and cleaning? And
I typically make a bunch of like food prep on like a Sunday night, and then I eat like 5 things. Right. It's like protein shakes, rice, some kind of vegetable, some kind of a protein, and then maybe like a couple meals out, and that's usually like sushi, steak, and a vegetable. Like when it's been a little colder out, so I've like big on like soups and stews and things because those will stay, and I can freeze it and then heat it up when I want it.
Absolutely.
And but yeah, I try to eat pretty clean.
Yeah.
And I barely drink anymore at all.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's like I don't get drunk and like not that I don't, but like it doesn't like phase me. We got 3, 4, 5 drinks, I'm fine. Yeah. It's how it affects my next day.
100%.
I hate
yeah. And I was, like pre-therapy, like when I was like still like working through all my shit, I was probably a functional alcoholic, drinking like a bottle of whiskey a week. And now like I've got a bottle of whiskey in my place and I don't even know if it's
not even finishing a glass.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. We got to dinner, like I'll have a martini and then I'll order a second one and it'll sit there.
That's Austin in general.
Yeah.
Austin in general is just a social drinking city.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, side note for you.
Okay.
My go-to drink has been espresso martini with tequila.
Ooh.
Nobody has a name for it. There you go. Nobody has a name for it. One bartender told me
espresso martini made with tequila.
And one bartender told me that it's called an espresso martinez. But I've said it maybe 3 or 4 times and thrown it out there, and people look at me like, "Huh?" Or they just don't make it with tequila.
That's kind of funny.
He didn't get it.
Yeah, you got to be in the right social circle.
We're gonna have to check the comments to figure this out.
Is that inappropriate, or is that? Well, we'll work.
I don't think so. It shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
I think it's funny. Dude, I could talk to you all day. I know we both have schedules to keep. I end every podcast with 5 questions.
Sure.
Sometimes they're the same. Sometimes they're different. I have a couple good ones for you. Sliding doors moment, right? Parallel universe. You're not a football player who's now in real estate. What would you be doing?
If I wasn't in real estate?
Yeah.
Philanthropy work.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your...
I have a foundation now that I run with my partner MJ. It's called Players Reach, and it's 2-sided. Obviously, the main side is giving back or providing resources, or at least a vision of success for underprivileged youth in whatever city I'm in. And the reason that is because I didn't grow up underprivileged or anything like that, right? But just being able to see other grown men be successful at things and realize how average they are, being able to accomplish all the things they accomplish, just being able to be around that made me a better person, or let me know that I could accomplish my goals. The second portion of the philanthropy work and Players Reach specifically is to allow men and women who are transitioning out of sports to network with each other. Austin has, a very large, demographic of athletes, Olympians, baseball, basketball, all of the things, male and female, all over Austin that retire here or call Austin home for some reason, and we don't know each other. So I put Players Reach together as a way to do outreach, because when you're on a team, they put outreach stuff together for you. Every Tuesday is your day off. And on that day, you can go to the hospital, you can go to the animal shelter, you can bag groceries, you can sign autographs, right? They put things together for you, and we don't have a pro team here. And so that was kind of my way when I first got here. It was a way to network, but it was also a way to continue the philanthropic part of all of that.
I love that no one thinks that the soccer team's a professional football team.
Well, when I got here, there wasn't a professional team. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's a professional team either. I also don't think that the pickleball thing is a real thing.
Yeah, I haven't even played pickleball yet, but
I think
I'll be a believer.
I know that I am in the minority opinion here, but I think remember highlight?
Yeah,
I think pickleball's going the way of highlight. It's going to be like big for like 2.5 years, and then pickle what?
It just depends on how much money gets put behind it.
Isn't that always the thing?
If the money's behind it and the people with the money
I don't know. There was a lot of drug money behind highlight, and that still didn't survive.
It's very true. Well, we'll see. We'll take our bets.
Yes, I'm betting the under. When you were a kid, what was something that you did that you would get lost in?
In fun or get lost in a bad way? Is this good, bad?
Yeah, no, just like when you were like doing that thing, like the world disappeared.
Sports.
Yeah.
Just sports.
Was it always football?
Football was always a passion of mine. My dad played pro ball. Had an older cousin that played pro ball. I had
Who'd your dad play for?
Younger cousin that played pro ball. My dad had a stint with the Chargers. I believe he did like a year, and then he played Canadian ball for a while.
Great.
I had an older cousin that went to University of Cal, and he played for the Broncos for a while. And then my dad harbored essentially a training group of football athletes in the Sacramento area before all these 7-on-7 camps and all of the things before.
Yeah.
And that was, people would travel and come from different parts of California to come to these workouts because you got to kind of play and do one-on-ones against people before this stuff was popular.
Yeah.
So by always seeing that, I got addicted to the competition of those things and wanting to be as successful as those older guys, whether they were cousins or just other people who played in the area that I wanted to be like. I would get lost in that. I would spend, when I was younger, you talk about the delayed gratification.
Yeah.
I'll go work out just to work out.
Mm-hmm.
There was no goal in mind. I'm just out there just hanging out. I think Saturday getting better footwork is what I should be doing, or playing basketball and finding a way to get a W today before I got to go do my chores is, that's just a life I was choosing to live.
I like it.
Yeah, man.
Last book or TV show that you would recommend?
Book or TV show
or movie
I would recommend, or movie? That's a great question because I do get lost in shows. Man, that's a great question. I've been getting lost in the funny part is, as you talk about shows and movies, the first things that come to mind are all the shows that my daughter and the missus make me watch, all the trash TV,
SpongeBob.
all the trash TV I shouldn't be watching, Baby Shark to, those Love is Blind, all of those things that I'm forced to watch, which I do participate in willfully.
There was some comedian
who was like, watching them, man. Like, you can't say you hate
there was some comedian that was like, when I was a bachelor, like it was my TiVo, like was all like, like these like very manly, like Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff like this. And then he's like, and then my girlfriend moved in, and I've got a kid, and now I'm pretty sure my TiVo thinks I'm gay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like that's really funny.
Yeah, my Netflix account is all strayed. Watching murder mystery at 1 a.m. That's just not a good way to fall asleep. Something about them loves that. I don't know what it is.
You know what it is? It's why women love true crime.
Why do they love true crime?
Because they're seeing the pre-incident indicators of harm that happened to others, so that they can make sure it doesn't happen to them.
Yeah, sure. They can say that if they want to. They're sick. They're twisted. They're just watching, falling asleep to murder and unsolved.
They're just trying to figure out how to get away with killing us.
Right. How do I collect this life?
What is CSI looking for? Okay, so I got to wear gloves.
Man, I've been back to the basics on the books and the things like that. I'm going back and rereading things like The One Thing or The Energy Bus. I've been going back and reading things that I read 10 years ago, just because I don't know if it's due to the concussions. I don't know what it is, but I just don't remember a lot of it. I remember snippets of it, but like a lot of it is information that I like to re-dissect and re-digest and take back in, because now that I'm leading a family and I'm leading a household, right? There's principles that I remember from books like that made me successful in my past career that I'm like, man, I need to bring that stuff back up. Let's resurface some of those things.
I like that.
And then
Energy Bus is a great one.
Modern day TV and music has lost me.
Don't get me started.
I love podcasts and things like that, right? But I think if I'm truly doing a study or something that's meant to gain some progress, it's probably how can I better lead my family and kind of go back to those principles that allowed me to kind of become the guy I am today, so I can instill those in the family. But the Energy Bus has been a good one.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely putting that one.
It's been a good one.
I'm gonna read. I'm gonna. I've got that's on my bookshelf. I'm going to reread that.
It's a good one to bring back and knock the dust off, man. It's okay.
Yeah, just number 4, aliens. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Like living here among us, or of course they're out there because of the infinite variety?
I don't know. They're living amongst us. I kind of stay in my own little realm. Too much to know, but I'm not opposed to it at all. I definitely believe they're out there. I'm not opposed to the idea of it. I think I think it's real. I can't tell if they're just like letting it be more public now because they know we know, or if it's AI. I don't know what it is. I don't know if video editing's just gotten so real that we're just believing anything we see, but
is this a simulation?
Right. But I've also definitely believe that exists. How about you?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if like they're like, in the underground bases at like Area 51, but
this isn't an episode of Men in Black.
No, they're for sure out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The number one argument against like the government being able to like keep that big of a, like go to the DMV for 2 hours and tell me that kind of bureaucracy can also like.
Good point.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was a big like, I want to believe like X-Files buff. And then I got in the military and it's like the LT can't go take a leak without the entire platoon always.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you're not keeping that kind of stuff.
Yeah. They can't.
I'm going to rephrase this. I usually ask people like, hey, if there was a billboard, like what would you put on it? Blah, 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 blah. But if you were going to leave like a message for your daughter, like on a billboard, like not, make it, but like in the event of like your untimely demise, like the moment that you go, a billboard goes up that your daughter's going to see, what's on it?
First thing that comes to mind is keep working on a way to be blissfully confident in all of your actions. Right.
I love that.
And I say that because like I found myself a lot
blissfully
confident
in
all of your actions. Right. Like, I can come on this podcast and be nervous, but there's also a part of you that's like, hey, if I'm going to do this, why don't I do it confidently and enjoy myself?
Yeah.
If I'm, golfing is a life game. I golf.
Mm-hmm.
Why be nervous or like kind of unsure hitting this putt? Why not just hit it confidently?
Yeah, go full ass, no half-assing.
Yeah. Even, and in football, it's always be like full speed or no speed. And if you're going to fuck up, do it full speed and at least let us know you were trying to blow up the hole.
We used to have like, before we went out, like go hard or go home.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Or go hard or don't go.
And I think some of those phrases they're out there so much that people don't actually like read into like the actual realness of those statements. But, whether you're in class taking a test and you didn't study for it, or, you're participating in a driver's test or an action, or you're with your friends, or you're nervous to do something, or you have a school play, like, just default to like just tricking yourself into doing it confidently.
Yeah.
And there will probably be a lot less stress, anxiety, and like overthinking in your young life that I wish I would have done. And I don't know how you put that in one sentence on a billboard.
I think you did.
But what did I say?
I got the blissfully confident in all of your actions. Go through your life being blissfully confident in all of your actions.
Yeah, convince yourself, man. If you can't convince yourself, nobody else is going to believe you.
But it's not just that, but it's also like mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like your mindset will really like dictate your behaviors, to dictate your outlook, your perspective. Like one of the things I really got out of therapy was like no more like bad talk or doubt or like everything. Well, if I get this, no, when I get this, right. Oh, I suck at that. Well, I'm pretty good at this,
right. I mean, there's nobody, to your point earlier, there's nobody in the shoes that you want to be in that's accidentally fumbling their way to the position that you desire. Right.
Yeah.
There's nobody.
And stop thinking that everyone is thinking about you. No,
right.
They're not. No one cares.
And that's the craziest thing. If you're confident enough to think that they're thinking about you that much, why can't you just be confident enough in your own head? Right. And I battle with it every day. I mean, we all do. 100%. But that's the argument I'm having with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like, the ego you got to have to think that all these people in this room are actually thinking about you.
Yeah.
Right?
They're thinking about themselves, just like all of us.
Just focus that energy on you and find a way to do that. And again, fail
forward.
It's an ongoing battle. Same question back to you though.
What would the billboard say?
Yeah.
Work, sweat, win.
Work, sweat, win. Love
Keep
it.
Simple.
Love it.
It's a really simple thing to say. It's a really hard thing to put into practice.
Says that, don't
I do.
You? Yeah, you better. You should.
I do.
Yeah,
I might be wearing it right now. Nope, I was wearing it this morning. I worked at the gym this morning. Definitely did. Well, Kelly was kicking my ass.
How'd that go?
I made the mistake of telling her my fitness goals for the year, and now she's making me earn them.
That's not a mistake.
No, it's accountability.
You did that. You did that on purpose. You didn't want to say it.
No,
but you said it because you knew that she would make you get to it.
Oh yeah. and probably surpass.
Yeah, Khalil told me he has a love-hate with her too. Like she's helping him get to his goals, but
it's a love to hate and hate to love.
Yeah, you gotta hate your trainer a little bit. Like
if you don't, they're not a good trainer.
Yeah, Rain. Shout out to Rain, man. Rain does the same. Rain does the same thing, man. He's
a big boy.
Yeah. Hey, we're just gonna finish with a little bit. Jesus,
yeah, I've seen your little bits.
Yeah, I'm try not to throw up every time I'm in there.
Freaking clean and pressing like 405, like it's me with a 25-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but we uncover those goals, so they hold us accountable to those things, man.
And then you meet him. He's like, "Hey, man, how are you?" He's
such
a nice guy.
Yeah. Hey, lad. I'm like, "Hey, man, not right now. I'm gonna throw up."
Right. Oh God. Yeah, dude, this was a lot of fun. People want to learn more. Website, Instagram.
The website is ververnd.com, and then obviously you can find me at Tatted and Spatted on Instagram, man. Doing all things.
We'll put both in the show notes.
Hopefully ramping all of those things up, man, and just finding ways to continue to grow all of those avenues, man, and
100%.
Find ways to continue being great.
Dude, man, thank you so much.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Cheers.